A WWE superstar is gone from the company, and this might actually begin a new trend for the company. So we're going to talk about it in today's video, as well as several other wrestling news stories. And as always, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description down below. We're going to kick things off with a very interesting WWE draft news. If you guys didn't know, WWE.com did in fact confirm that they were changing the ring announcers for Raw and Smackdown. So this wasn't announced on TV, this wasn't announced during the draft, but essentially Samantha Irvin from SmackDown will be moved over to WWE Raw, and then on SmackDown they will be getting Mike Rome, who was the ring announcer for WWE Raw. So here's the good thing, right? For those who don't know, Samantha Irvin is together with Ricochet. And so, therefore, WWE doing the right thing, keeping them together, obviously a very positive move there. However, one thing that's been highlighted quite a bit here is Samantha Irvin's ability to ring announce certain wrestlers and just being able to really draw some excitement for them. Obviously, the big name that a lot of people are seemingly impressed with is Gunther. If you look at Imperium, the videos that have gone viral with Samantha Irvin, she does such a hell of a job announcing Imperium to the ring that this is just all around cool to see. Not only is she going to be with Ricochet, who was drafted to WWE Raw, but a lot of the people that she has done a great job ring announcing for, she will be there and she will be ring announcing for them. So ultimately, I'm glad that WWE decided to switch it up for the ring announcers. It's obviously very minute. It's not a very, very big deal. But of course, with WWE and you just look at them switching up the rosters, I like to see them changing things up. I do want to see WWE change up the commentary teams. I have nothing against Kevin Patrick. I think he gets a lot of hate on WWE Raw. But I'm looking at NXT. I see Vic Joseph. I think he's done a hell of a job commentating. I would love to see him on Raw with Corey Graves. I think there's a lot of chemistry there. I would love to see Kevin Patrick become a WWE Kickoff Show panelist. I would love to see him do backstage interviews. I just think he's a little bit more skilled in that area versus commentary. And then, of course, with SmackDown as well, you know, I think it would be really cool to see them switch it up a little bit. And, you know, if you want to put in Wade Barrett on NXT again, or if you want to move him to Raw as well, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. So I'm just super excited to see what WWE ultimately does. Don't forget, if you missed the videos before, WWE has a lot of plans for WWE to change things up, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But what about some of these NXT call-ups, guys? This was actually quite surprising. WWE didn't announce all of these picks on television, which had a lot of people shocked. But just quite honestly, I felt like this was a really cool thing because WWE definitely surprised the world. And we have some more details on this specifically. So WWE Raw and SmackDown have a total of 18 wrestlers who have been called up from NXT, which I think at this point is a very, very, very big deal, right? So for those who don't know, Raw brought in Indus Sher, which is Jinder Mahal, Veer, and Sangha. I'm excited about this. If you look at Raw, they got Judgment Day, they have New Day, they have Maximum Male Models. They have all of these different groups on the show. I think if you really want a credible heel group, I think Jinder Mahal and Veer Mahan and Sangha, I think they could be a really good heel tag team, very good heel trio. Now we get Veer and Sangha back on the main roster, right? We got Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, which I'm excited to see this because my big complaint has been WWE not taking the women's tag team division seriously. We see them drafted to Raw. We saw on SmackDown Alba Fire and, of course, Isla Dawn being drafted. So I really do like that NXT call-up. Raw surprisingly drafted Odyssey Jones, which, if you guys follow my channel, especially when I talk about NXT, I have been very high on Odyssey Jones, but the fact is, Odyssey Jones barely wrestled on WWE NXT, and so I'm curious to see what WWE thinks from a backstage perspective, because obviously they believe Odyssey Jones could be somewhat of a big deal. Now, the thing is, I see a lot of people talking about WWE Raw having some very big heavy hitters. I'm intrigued to see what they do with Odyssey Jones, considering the fact that they have Bronson Reed as well. If WWE wants to have the big men go at it, they definitely could have some super heavyweight feuds, which would be fun. Odyssey Jones is a hell of a talent, though. I think he's got a lot of potential. But at the same time, too, I am shocked that they decided to move him up so early because he barely was wrestling on NXT. And at one point, I think it was the NXT Breakout Tournament in 2020, 2021, maybe? I can't remember exactly the year, but just a couple years ago, he was on the Breakout Tournament, and then WWE became NXT 2.0 and everything like that. And I'm just excited to see what they do there. Definitely a surpriser. We saw Smackdown bring in Grayson Waller, which I think is a no-brainer. WWE released the footage of Grayson Waller reacting to his call-up, and it was just so incredible. The guy was trying to hold back tears and emotions, but he delivered one hell of a heel promo. Just really cool in general to see Grayson Waller get called up to SmackDown. I think this guy is so talented, and when I look at SmackDown, I look at LA Knight, and I look at Austin Theory, and I look at guys like Cameron Grimes, who also was called up. I look at them as well as Grayson Waller, and I just think some really good things. SmackDown also called up Pretty Deadly, Elton Prince, and Kit Wilson. This is a no-brainer. If you guys have been following this channel, this was expected. But just ultimately really excited to see them get called up from NXT UK all the way down to NXT. They've pretty much nailed everything WWE has asked out of them. I think they're going to be incredible. As I said, Cameron Grimes, Zion Quinn has been called up, but Zion Quinn will in fact be a free agent, so we'll see what they do with Zion Quinn. I think he's got the look. I think he's got the ability to make it in WWE. However, at the same time too, Zion Quinn has been in NXT for years, and we barely see Zion Quinn. So I feel like he's got the look. He's got what WWE is looking for. However, I haven't seen enough of his promos. I haven't seen him enough in big feuds to know whether or not he has that charisma that it needs to be in the main roster. But I'm excited about it. I'm glad to see that they made that call up. We'll see where he lands, Raw or SmackDown. Keep in mind, WWE also brought up Zoe Stark, JD McDonough, Apollo Crews, Indy Hartwell, and Von Wagner. So a lot of names from NXT called up. I just like to see this going. For those who are saying, well, where's Braun Breaker? Or where's this person? Where's that person? Guys, if you can't see it, WWE NXT clearly has a major change going on because 18 people from their roster were taken. A lot of the character-centric people have been taken to the main roster. So I have to wonder if NXT will become a super indie, which ultimately comes down to some major changes for WWE at the hands of Triple H. Because for those who don't know, some very interesting stuff came out from Boozer Wrestling, which is a Twitter insider account. Now, in the past week, Boozer Wrestling has absolutely nailed 100% of the stories so far. And this is actually really cool because now there's Twitter accounts popping up. It's not just the Dave Meltzers of the world. It's not just the Sean Ross Sapps of the world. Now we're starting to see so many people come out and drop news. Boozer Wrestling has nailed some stories, but they came out with some information that suggested from here, Triple H will get his engine running on high with everything being sorted and balanced. Someone asked on Twitter if NXT talent will be able to finish up their storylines, as that's usually been the case. And Boozer tweeted that Triple H is rounding up the last bits of the VKM era. So basically, for those who don't know, WWE, more specifically, Triple H will be taking over full creative control. And look, I'm sure Vince McMahon will have a little bit of input as always, but some certain storylines need to be wrapped up. Certain things that Vince McMahon was wrapped up in, Triple H is expected to take it over, which makes you wonder about NXT, if NXT will fully become a super indie again. Ilya Dragunov, Tyler Bate, and so many others who were rumored to go to the main roster are still in NXT. NXT brought in Noam Dar in the Heritage Cup. I feel like NXT is going to be changing greatly, but ultimately 18 NXT call-ups, the ring announcer change, WWE still has some more crazy changes, and then the last one that's really interesting to me, guys, is Alicia Fox. So for those who don't know, Alicia Fox is reportedly gone from the company. Her contract expired with the company, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, we haven't seen her in forever and whatever. For those who don't know, Alicia Fox has been contracted to WWE. She was still under contract with WWE despite not being used. Now, with that being said, she did reveal during an interview in February that she was with the WWE. Now she revealed on Instagram that she has finished up with the WWE. It's interesting because WWE typically releases people, and in this case, WWE did not release her. If this is something that AEW has done to inspire WWE, honestly, good for them. I've never been against releases because at the end of the day, it is business, and I understand that a business is being done. I've worked for major corporate companies where sometimes you just get cut, and it's bullshit and it sucks, but at the end of the day, it's true. And so when I see WWE kind of follow the same footprint as AEW, where it's like, you know what? We're not going to fire this person unless we really have to. I like that. And ultimately, I think it's a good thing. Guys, right now, I feel like the WWE draft was okay, but I am optimistic that things will be pretty good after Backlash, going into SummerSlam, after SummerSlam. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated along the way. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.